Peloton was our most profitable trade of 2020. Collectively, we made $5 million from this one company. And for the record, I never believed in it, so just about all of those gains were Chris and Jordan. It was the perfect trade. It was a stay-at-home stock. It defined connected fitness. It had a huge community of brand enthusiasts, but fast forward a year, and the stay-at-home surge in demand for Peloton has plunged. They've slashed their full-year outlook by $1 billion, $1 billion with a B. Now they're considering massive layoffs. They might close 20% of their showrooms, and they're raising the cost of the already overpriced bikes with a special $250 delivery and setup fee to try to help them out with the cost of inflation. Today on Dumb Money, what happened to the investment? Chris and Jordan are going to tell you how they're playing Peloton now. We are Dumb Money.
Three friends who turned $30,000 into $30 million using nothing more than Twitter and a zero commission trading account.
The suits that work on Wall Street, they call those people the smart money. That's not us.
Our goal is to help level the playing field for everyday investors.
We are Dumb Money.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to Dumb Money Live. If you want to show your support to a couple of traders who have been Peloton investors as the stock dropped from $166 a year ago down to $30 today, don't send money, send likes. Smash the like button. Help people find this video. Chris, Jordan, I did go back this morning and watch our biggest trades of 2020 video. And Chris, in that video, you said that Peloton was a generational stock, and I'll quote, "It was a generational opportunity to get in on something. This is a game changer for the entire world." You went on to say, "Who knows where this turns out over the next year or two?" Well, that said, you said that at the end of 2020, and we've seen how 2021 shows turned out. So we're now dying to know, what have you done with your Peloton investment, and what do you see for the future of the company?
I first of all, I think I'm in trouble because I just realized that this show is going to be talking about how we have been hedging our positions in Peloton all year, and now we're all out of Peloton and have been all out. And I just realized that my parents still have some Peloton in their portfolio that I bought them, and I know I'm going to get a phone call in the next 30 minutes from my mom going, "Why didn't you sell our Peloton when you got out?" I just literally, I have the Schwab app open, selling their Peloton right now so I don't get in trouble. But listen, this I was just telling you guys earlier, this story reminds me so much of another story, the story of Under Armour, right? I don't know if you remember the rise and fall of Under Armour and their CEO that ultimately had to leave because of it. But Peloton is a generational story. I still think it has the ability to revolutionize the way that we work out. I think long term, it's just a matter of when, not if, the entire world moves over to connected fitness. Is it in 2 years or 20 or 200? I don't know.
Well, we already saw it. It all happened in 2020. Everybody, like, my thing is, Peloton was never supposed to be this big, massive connected fitness generational play. It just happened to be in the right place at the right time with a product that had unprecedented demand, and I was always suspicious of the management team, didn't really like the way they were running the company, and so for me, you kept convincing me to get in, so I would get in a little bit, and then I would make some money, and then I would sell. And so I may be the only one who had like realized gains in this thing.
I know
you're out,
Dave. No. So Dave, here's the thing. I will say that it was always supposed to be a generational company. That's how Foley set it up. That's how he built the company. That's how he grew the company. I think the difference is it was never supposed to be a giant in 2022 or 2023. The pandemic really messed with everyone's minds, including CEO Foley, okay? And it tricked a lot of people, including him, into thinking the company that he thought he might be able to grow into in 10 or 15 years could be here in 3 to 5 years. That we're seeing looks like a mistake, okay? So he essentially made investments to supersize the company, right? The types of investments very similar to what Elon Musk did, very similar to what Under Armour did, very similar to what Amazon did with Bezos. And I'll tell you one thing, fake it till you make it works sometimes, okay? and sometimes it doesn't. If things would have went a little bit differently with funding, with government regulations, with EV, we wouldn't be talking about Elon Musk being this big hero today. Okay, you know how close, how thin, how close he was to completely going away and being a complete catastrophe at Tesla, right? But sometimes we look at history. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He took a huge risk, a huge gamble. Okay, I don't necessarily blame him for doing it. It was a cow. Do blame him for is not being as prudent and transparent with people about the risk he was taking and how the company was doing at moments in time over the past 6 months. I don't think he was as transparent as he should have been with the investor base. Maybe he was fooling himself. Maybe he knew what was going on. You said he just sold a lot of stock, right,
He
Dave?
did. He sold like 100 plus million dollars at the top, but I believe that was all like program selling. It was not like he was like, oh, this is the perfect time to sell. When you're the CEO of a company, you have a bunch of stock, and your allocation, your basically your life is too tied up in one company, so you have to systematically sell it. But he happened to sell it at the top, and he halted his sales as it started going down sometime mid-year, I believe, last year.
Yeah, and so like, listen, I had a thesis. My thesis was that Peloton was its generational stock. I had a thesis that that it was going to plateau for a while and then continue growth. I guess what I didn't build into my thesis was that Foley was overdoing it, didn't see the plateau, just assumed it would keep going, and now he got himself into trouble with investors. He got himself into trouble with growing the company too fast. I believe from what I read in the community and with employees, it seems like employee morale might be taking a huge hit. He built expectations wrong. And now he set him up for, quite honestly, could be a complete and utter catastrophe. So I will
Well,
say this, even though I had that thesis, Dave, what did we trade on this show? We trade data more than anything else. And if you've been watching this show over the past 4 months, what you've noticed, or following the tweets, my tweets at Chris Camillo, what you've noticed is I have hedged myself about 70 to 75% hedge into every Peloton earnings this last year, out of concern for the data maybe not being as good as people were expecting. We're watching customer data, we're watching search data, we're watching web traffic data, we're watching social data, and I've had major concerns going to every quarter, and thank goodness I hedged myself with put options. And then over the past 4 months, I just started selling off parts of my equity position in Peloton as I was generally deleveraging my portfolio. So I'm very fortunate that I didn't necessarily sell it all at the top, but the gains is still probably my number one trade of all time in terms of realized gains in 30 years is Peloton. I am currently completely out of Peloton. When I sold those last shares, what I said to myself was, I'm going to watch the data closely, and as soon as I see a reversal, I'm going to jump back in because I still believe in the generational story, whether I'm crazy or not. But guys, this move that they made to lower prices going into the holiday season, the fact that we not only didn't see a huge data spike from that, but the data actually looked worse than I would have expected without
yeah.
the promos, that
Now,
was the biggest red
Well, the
flag
other
of
thing
all.
that you're noticing now is that you see a lot of bikes showing up to purchase secondhand, right? So there's just tons of supply. The demand isn't, the demand's just not showing up right now. And so
And they
I
that's
had
got
did
to
to
see
make
a
raise
a change.
bullish
prices now,
research
Jordan.
report, though, that said, as far as data, they are seeing positive trends in App Store rankings and also social media following, but nothing on web traffic or search or anything like that. The only other bullish cases that I could find being made right now are potential short squeeze. The fact that the valuation has imploded, that their subscription business is still 2.5 million subscribers at $42 a month at 70% margin. So they're currently doing $1.3 billion in sales. And 1 year from now, even though all estimates are down for everything, that 2.5 million subscribers is expected to go to 3.4 million subscribers in a year. So if you look at them as a Netflix, as a just subscription-based software product, you decouple the fact that they're selling an overpriced bike and that whether you need that or not, and Apple is selling their own Apple Fitness Plus without any kind of hardware other than a watch. Those are the bullish things that I found.
By the way, Dave, we need to do a 2.0 of this shirt that is
with the arrow going down,
and then hopefully eventually like a slow road back up over the next 10 years. Because you know what the biggest mistake was, I think, though? The number one mistake at Peloton? Jordan, I wanted to see if you agree with me. I have spoken to so many people and I've spent so much time in the community understanding what people want. And it was so clear what people wanted out of Peloton. And there's so many competitive products now that are crushing it with an upper body strength product, an actual hardware product, not this BS that he announced a couple months ago, which is going to be like a virtual upper body thing. But all Peloton had to do, in my opinion, was come out with their version of Jordan. What's the one that everyone uses against the wall?
Tonal.
Like it's the what? Tonal, yeah. If Peloton came out with their version of Tonal to reinvigorate the Peloton core consumers, give them a nice piece of hardware to be super excited about, it seemed like such a no-brainer to me. But Foley wanted to pull a Steve Jobs. You know how Steve Jobs would never give the people what they wanted, right? He was. And I feel like as much as I love Steve Jobs, when you take risk like he did, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some of the things that Steve Jobs refused to do that ultimately happened, like the larger iPhone, crushed it, right? Absolutely crushed it. But if Steve Jobs is still making those decisions, these things might have never really materialized in the way that they did when he started like giving away power to other people in the company.
Well, Steve Jobs was kind of hesitant on the iPad, right?
What?
Steve Jobs was hesitant about the iPad.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like,
because he saw what happened with the Newton.
Yeah, I mean, we always
they were
think
too early.
One person knows everything. We think one person knows everything all the time, or they know nothing, and that's really just not how it is in life, right? So honestly, I think he made a huge mistake. Like, I think that would have been a home run for the company. I don't know where they are in developing that hardware. Perhaps they're getting closer. Maybe it's a late 2022 release now. Maybe it's 2023 release. But I think there's a point in time at the right price, once we get past the pandemic and they're able to resize the company, get through this terrible period. If they're not acquired by Apple or Amazon or Netflix, I can see myself Peloton at a point in the future, but not today. Not today. Everything that can go wrong right now, guys, Dave, I did what you did. I was like, I'm not looking at other people's opinions, but I'm trying to figure out company culture, supply chain, inflation, customer traffic, new products, trying to figure out like pricing of every single metric I looked at that could be a potential turnaround or like a green shoot. It failed for me with Peloton right now. So I need to wait. I need to wait until I see a reason to get back in this company. And maybe I'll be late. I would rather be late on Peloton getting back in and buy back in at 45, honestly, or 50 or 55, than to sit around for the next 6 to 9 months and who knows what the hell happens, right, with this company. So, Dave, you were right in a lot of ways, though.
So when
you were right with the management team being
when they came out with the set-top box, with the thing that was going to go on your TV or whatever, at that point I felt like they were reaching. I didn't think that was a good idea, and it wasn't even ready to be released, right? So they did like a press announcement for a product that was going to be released in 6 months or a year, however long it happened to be, instead of, like you said, some other strength device, which I think would have been ultimately good for the stock.
They basically didn't have anything. They released what they could because they were in a crunch to get something out.
What's that?
Sorry, we're talking at the same time. I can barely hear. Sorry about the audio problems today, everyone. I think it sounds better now, but I can barely hear what they're saying. But I was basically saying they had to release something. They were feeling pressure from everywhere, and they didn't have the right product, but they come out with this weird set-top box that has a camera on it that doesn't really analyze what you're doing. It just sees that you're there. But they had to release something because they hadn't had a new product in a while, and everyone was demanding this new product.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, Peloton Gains. How about he's angry? For those of y'all don't follow, he's one of the most treasured members of our community, and I feel just terrible for him. I think this is a learning lesson for the community, though. Listen, guys, this is not the first time I've been through something like this, right? Like I was prepared for this. Is as much of a Peloton bull as I've been. In my younger years, I would have avoided the truth and ignored the data because I felt like I was already in and I didn't want to admit that what I wanted to happen wasn't happening. That's not me anymore. There's no way I was going to let them steal that money back from me. So Peloton Gaines got in really heavy. He saw Peloton earlier than almost anyone else did. What's so ironic is that he had the data. I actually saw him talking about the negative data many months ago. He just like I think we DM'd a few times and like he saw all the red flags, but he was like, I think I'm just going to stick with it because he believed in the long-term vision and he didn't want to get caught. He didn't want to get caught without He didn't want to get caught not having the Peloton for the next 5 to 10 years, right? And that was a scare for him. And I think he probably learned a lot from this whole experience. And I think he will be a much better investor going forward. I think everybody in the community that traded Peloton has learned a lot. There's not a single trade I make that I don't learn something from every single time. So guys, see this as a learning experience. Is still my number one trade of all time. If I would have going back, I would have sold all of it right this summer, but I didn't. I did hedge 70% of it all through the down run, and then completely got out of it. So that's the story of Peloton.
With it, I mean, you mentioned earlier, but with it down as much as it is, and earnings coming up, is there any chance of an upside surprise? Is there any, or is it just going to continue this? Like that's like a perfectly down. I've never seen a chart that goes quite that perfectly, just like at an angle.
I think your problem is growth, right? And so I don't know that you're going to see any growth coming out of this company, especially with year-over-year comps like they are coming out of the pandemic. I just don't see it, right? So they're going to need to figure out how to they've got to reset. They've got to level set, figure out what their run rate is, and figure out how to put growth back in this company because it's not a growing company right now, and that's the problem.
Yeah, if you want to know what turns this company around, Dave, it doesn't feel like this is the quarter, but what would turn the company around in terms of stock price, forget about reality, stock price, is the company completely coming out and admitting to what's happening and presenting a concrete plan to turn itself around. Basically, massive budget cuts and an actual plan to say, you know what? Here's what happened. Here's what we did wrong. Here's where we are today because of it. Here's what we're doing now to repair it. And here's what we have planned over the next 12 to 18 months to turn this thing around with some really big things happening. Like we are going to do the big next cycle product release, right? At the end of this year. We are going to have, so if they could paint that picture so beautifully on an earnings call, I could see Wall Street going, you know what? The risk reward, it's worth taking a shot on at these levels. I think what's more likely is that we continue to see a little bit more pain before that happens because I don't know if they're capable of painting that picture as beautifully as I just painted it theoretically. So I'm out, man. I don't want, dude. There's too many other things, Dave. I got cool cats.
You had to liquidate your trading or your Peloton so that you could buy some cats.
Yes, and Dave, you know what? I'm actually going. This is going to be a teaser for an episode that I'm going to beg you to let me do next week. I am going all in on a new NFT project. I don't want to disclose what it is today. You thought I went in big on Cool Cats. I might end up going bigger on this project than I went in on Cool Cats. And Cool Cats for me was like a $650,000 investment. in Cool Cat. So by the way, Wolf Game went nuts for me. I'm starting to, as I said, I'm in the process of exiting Wolf Game because it's gotten so big. It's just not for me as much. I'll still be in Wolf Game for the next few years because I own like $10 million of wool, which is like on the open market $4 million. If it vests, when it vests. But my animals, like I'm starting to diversify a little bit out of Wolf Game into some other projects. But I want to talk about this project next week because I think this NFT project actually could be one of the biggest of blue chips in 2 years. And I hope to be able to do a show on that next week. So, guys, if you're not following this channel and if you haven't hit the bell for notifications, please hit it. And I'm going to hit the thumbs up right now. Give us a thumbs up, guys. We used to get 200 thumbs up in like the first 30 seconds before we started the show.
Well, yeah, that's because I used to hold the show hostage until everyone got their thumbs up, and then we would move on.
Don't make Dave.
Don't make
Dave do that again, please. I hated that. Please give us some thumbs up. We are going to try to do an NFT show every week because I'm obsessed, guys. I know I'm off the deep end on NFTs. But also, someone asked in the chat, they were like, so if Peloton's not your generational investment, like, what is? Like, I don't necessarily have an obvious, here's the generational one, but we talked about it. We've done 2 episodes on Aritzia, and they absolutely crushed earnings, made a decent amount of money on that one. I haven't sold any Aritzia yet. I wouldn't call it a generational investment by any means. But we're always looking, guys. And by the way, I went ahead and paid $500 to the person that the first person that identified that stove company. Jordan, what's it called?
DTC, Solo Brands.
Yeah, even though I lost a bunch of money on it, I still Venmo'd him $500.
By the way, they are getting crushed today. They were down like 13% today or something.
Oh,
like that.
I'm so glad I'm out of that thing, man. I told you that's why I got out of it, dude.
Well, they're down. They're down like 8% right now today. They're 12.55.
I want nothing to do with that company. It's a small cap. I feel like the people backing it do not have a long-term mindset, and whoever is in that stock on the inside,
it's a random company. It's like most of it's the Solo Stove, and then don't they have like Chubbies and a few other things?
It's 85% Solo Stove though, Jordan. It's like almost all Solo Stove. I'm out, dude. In this market, that company's not built for this crazy market. Aritzia is doing great though. You know what? Tap is doing pretty good. Tap's up there at 50 Molson Coors, man.
I've been out of Tap for a while.
No, I'm into. I mean,
right now, but I mean, it's had a little run.
Yeah, man, Tap is doing good. I'm not huge in Tap anymore, but I do have an okay size position in Molson Coors still. It's really nice to see. I haven't been keeping up with the company too much. But guys, we'll
shares. It's it's kind of a safe. Everybody hates growth right now, and man, they don't have growth, so people are loving Tap.
I'm going to dig into the Discord. I'm going to look at those high conviction reports and try to pick the best one and throw some money to someone that has the best social arb report, and we'll do a show on it. Maybe we'll do that show on Friday if you guys are around, or tomorrow maybe. But we'll be doing another social arb show on a new investment really soon. I just need like 4 or 5 hours to research it once I find it in the community, because I don't have any of my own right now. That I want to talk about at least. I have like 5 I'm working on, but I'm not ready to talk about them yet, and I haven't invested in them yet. So we'll pick one. We'll do a show the next few days, and we'll reward the community member that came up with the best social arb idea. So if you're not on our Discord, dumbmoney.tv/Discord, do a high conviction report. Must be social arb though. Must be a trend that you spotted. Must be some piece of information that you see that no one else sees, that will positively or negatively impact a stock or a sector. I'll do your best. I'll throw you a few $100, maybe a few $1,000, depending on how good it is, whether we make money or lose money in it, and we'll feature it on the next show.
That sounds like quite a plan.
Yeah, and then our big NFT episode. We have like 4 NFT episodes coming up. We're going to do a beginner's guide to NFTs. By the way, I do want to do my Coinbase episode next week too, Dave. We have to do that next week. Have to.
Have we even talked about what you're thinking about there?
We teased it, but guys, this could end up being one of my biggest trades of the first half of 2022. So I want to talk about the timing. I want to talk about the framework of the trade. I want to talk about the thesis. I want to talk about what could go wrong. And the timing is very important though. And I haven't full pressed into it yet. And I want to talk about why
I haven't done anything new. I'm holding on to the Coinbase that I got from our pre-IPO purchase, which I believe I'm losing money in right now, but I'm not selling. But I'm seriously, this is going to be a good show, because I think that what is coming for Coinbase is going to be big, but we just have to figure out the timing on it.
See, I love the idea. Here's my problem with Coinbase. It just trades, it seems like, in sympathy with Bitcoin right now. And it shouldn't, but it does.
Yeah, but so does pretty much all of the crypto market, right? Yeah. That's there are breakout, crazy coins that do things, but if Bitcoin's up, pretty much everything's up. If Bitcoin's down, pretty much everything's down.
Mm-hmm.
Our Coinbase trade has nothing to do with crypto or Bitcoin.
That's true.
And so I think...
Well, it does have to do with crypto. It's Coinbase.
I mean...
Just not Bitcoin,
really.
Specifically.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, listen, guys, I don't...
Hey, before you go, hit the like button. What are you going to say?
No, that's it. We'll just save it for another show. I just got too much to talk about. We need to do more shows, dude.
So hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, let you know when we're on. Subscribe to Hey There, Dave here. I'm trying to do videos every week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up. We have the podcast. We have Twitter. We have Instagram. I occasionally post on TikTok, Discord, dumbmoney.tv/Discord. That is it. Thanks for watching. We're Dumb Money. We will see you next week.